So I want to thank you so much for joining today to learn how you can save money with our EV discounts. My name is Annika Osborne. I am with Cool the Earth, an environmental nonprofit organization with the mission to reduce carbon emissions and local air pollution. While we are big fans of walking, biking, public transit, and carpooling, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance a rapid and equitable transition to electric transportation, EVs, e-bikes, electric school buses, electric public buses, etc. So here's the agenda for our webinar. We'll be going over lots of information today, but not to worry. We'll be sending you a PDF of this presentation in our follow-up email that will be coming from info@Ride and Drive Clean later today. Feel free during this webinar to ask questions in the chat when they come up. You can see on the agenda, we have two places for Q&A. The first one will be more focused on talking to Cartelligent and asking Cartelligent specific questions about how these EV discounts will work. Then we'll go talk a little bit about other incentives that are available. There are some income qualified grants, California grants that are already available. But yes, I will answer your question. That state rebate is not live yet. We don't know when it's coming, but I've read that the way they are passing this, it's not going to have to jump through a lot of loopholes. Or a lot of hoops in order to pass this rebate. So it should be coming around soon, and we'll be super excited about that. But yeah, then we'll have another Q&A. But if questions come up, feel free to raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and ask a question or just put a question in the chat. Okay. So launched in 2019, Ride and Drive Clean is a collaboration of nonprofits, agencies, utilities, and CCAs, cities, counties, schools, and businesses, all working together to reduce carbon emissions by advancing electric vehicles. We are here to help you make your next car an EV. So early on, we realized that the biggest barriers to going electric the biggest barrier was really the upfront cost of buying or leasing an EV. So that's why we partnered with Cartelligent, a highly regarded car concierge service, to offer these exclusive EV discounts during certain times of the year. They negotiate special pricing on select models, and that's when we run these programs. So over the past 6 years, we've helped thousands of people save thousands of dollars on EVs during our exclusive EV discounts. I'm very excited about the EVs featured this month. We have the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the 3-row Hyundai Ioniq 9, the 2026 Subaru Solterra, and my personal favorite, the Volkswagen ID Buzz. These EVs aren't just great value, they're also a lot of fun to drive. And before I introduce Payne from Cartelligent, I want to touch on just the current market situation. Now is a great time to consider an EV because of the deals that are available through this program. The federal Clean Vehicle Credit ended in September, which has increased upfront costs for new and used EVs, and future pricing remains somewhat uncertain due to tariffs and potential supply chain issues. And that's why we're offering these EV discounts now. Exclusive limited time savings on 4 EVs to help making driving electric more accessible for everyone. So if you've been thinking about going electric, now is the perfect time to take advantage of these special offers. We'll continue to track EV policies like the upcoming state rebate, and share them with you as we learn more information. And with all that, I will hand things over to Payne Cantrill from Cartelligent. Take it away, Payne.
Thank you, Annika. Annika, I appreciate it. We are excited at Cartelligent to be partnered with Ride and Drive Clean. Um, Myself, I am an EV owner. I am currently leasing a Toyota BZ4X. I'm a huge EV fan. It was a learning curve for me when I first got it. But I can't see myself going back at this point to anything other than an EV. A little bit about Cartelligent. We are a car buying and leasing service in California. Been around for about 25 years, and our goal is to help our clients, sidestep the dealership, find good pricing on cars, maximize incentives, and then negotiate the pricing and get the car that you want delivered to one of our four locations. I myself am out of the Sausalito branch, but we've got Menlo Park, we've got Walnut Creek, we've got Irvine in Southern California. And so we will search all of California for our inventory to find vehicles that you want. Doesn't matter what color it is, if you want something very specific, or if you're pretty open. We are a concierge service that's dedicated to relationship building and personalized service. So, with that said, we do have some great cars featured this month. The first one that we have on the list is the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 5, then the Ioniq 9, the Subaru Solterra, and the Volkswagen Buzz. And Annika, I agree 100%. The Buzz is really fun. I've gotten an opportunity to drive that around, and just like most EVs, it's fast, but they're also really nice. So here's what we can do for you. We're partnered with Ride and Drive Clean to offer exclusive discounts on these vehicles. If you are interested in leasing, financing, or paying cash for any one of these vehicles, you will not have to pay Cartelligent our normal $595 sign up fee. So that's the great news off the bat. You get a great deal to utilize our services for free. And what we'll do is talk to you about what your needs are. I like that Hyundai Ioniq 5. I would say that's what fits me. It's a great size. The range on the Ioniq 5 is 300 plus, and it's been a very popular vehicle. Now, the exclusive discount that we have for this vehicle is $1,500 below MSRP, but that is not where the discounts end. There are also a lot of rebates that are currently available. And this one actually has a little bit more rebates for financing than it does for leasing. When we help our clients at Cartelligent, we will go over all of the payment options because for some, leasing makes sense. I love leasing for electric vehicles, especially, but it's not to say that a finance deal might not end up being better for you. And so you got about 11,500 potential savings for the Hyundai Ioniq 5. The next one is the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9. Now, this one is great because it's one of the few third row SUVs, and it has over 300 miles of range. So families or anyone that needs just more space or likes to drive a bigger car, this is a great option. It's the MSRP of the Ioniq 9 is a little bit higher, but as you can see, there's $14,000 in lease rebates that are currently available. Now, I should have said this earlier, but some of those rebates and discounts depends on the trim level of the vehicle that you select. Usually what we see, some of the lower trim levels offer higher rebates. And some of them, the lower trim levels have everything that you need. Most of the safety features these days on new vehicles come standard. It's really more about leather seats, moonroof, 360-degree cameras. Those were something that you would get on the higher level. So there's discounts for any trim. And this has finance rebates available as well. 15,500 potential savings overall, includes our $1,500 exclusive discount. And then the Subaru Solterra. So I love this one. This is a twin car essentially to the Toyota BZ4X, which if any of you all have looked at the Toyota BZ4X, they've renamed it the BZ, but we're here to talk about the Solterra. So the $6,000 potential savings for the Solterra. You might notice on this slide, it says zero lease rebates, zero cash rebates, and zero finance rebates. So why is this something that would be featured? Well, it has 0% APR as well for financing, and the lease rates, also known as money factor, is incredibly low. Not zero, but almost zero. And so that is a huge benefit to anyone that's considering leasing an EV and a Subaru Solterra. They, just like all Subarus, they're standard with all-wheel drive. And I can tell you they're very fun to drive. They're very fast. But this one is about $6,000 potential savings. It is close to 300, not quite at 300 miles range, which depending on your driving might work out perfect. But once again, if you need something that's a lot longer range, maybe this one's not the one. For me, it works out perfect. And then Annika's favorite, the Volkswagen ID Buzz. Okay, so I love this car. A lot of people love this car for many reasons, but it is nice. Even the base model, the inside of the car, the leather seats, the big touch screen. It's just a very premium vehicle. So I'm excited that we are featuring it with all of the rebates and incentives and our exclusive $5,000 discount. It is a more expensive vehicle, but it has a lot of incentives to it as well. You can see $7,500 rebate for lease, cash, or finance. The range on this one is below 250, but once again, for a vehicle this size, it's pretty good. And then let's see, what else do we have
Great.
here? Okay.
Thank you so much, Payne. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how the EV these discounts work. So first you will submit the form on the Ride and Drive Clean page. I had put it in the chat earlier, and I will put it in again. So that's the first step. You don't call Cartelligent directly because you may not get the discounts if you call them directly. You want to go through our website. Our database will talk to Cartelligent's database. They'll be alerted, and a Cartelligent advisor will contact you within 24 hours to discuss the different models and pricing. Even if there are cars even if you're interested in a different EV, not one of these four, they can help you. But once they'll come back to you with like different models and pricing based on the trim levels that you want, the color, all that stuff. And then you'll confirm your preferred trim, color, and pricing. Then they'll come back with different options for you. And then you can pick the one that you're interested in. They may come back with 3 or 4 different options. And talk to you about leasing versus financing versus paying cash, so you can figure out what's going to make the most sense for you. And then you pick up your EV. You don't have to deal with the dealership. The only time you have to deal with the dealership is to test drive the EV, which we think is a good idea. You want to know what you're getting yourself into. But our suggestion there is maybe don't walk inside, just stay outside, test drive the car. Once you walk inside the dealership, that's when they start talking money. So that's kind of our suggestion if you want to participate in our discount campaign through Cartelligent. So once you've decided, Cartelligent will get that car for you. You pick up your EV in one of the 4 convenient locations, sign the contract, And then they'll give you a personal tour, a tutorial of the car to let you know, how do you charge this? How does this work? Like, what are the special features? How do I use Apple CarPlay? Whatever the special features are for the car. Now, in order to participate in this month's EV discounts, your contract has to be signed by the 28th. It's a short month. So you got to make sure you get your contract signed by the 28th. But because you may be able to do an e-contract, you don't have to pick up your car until March. So, but you do need to have that contract signed because pricing for new cars changes monthly, and you want to lock in this deal for the month of February. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about leasing versus buying because these questions come up pretty often. So there are two paths to EV ownership or getting an EV, each with benefits depending upon your driving habits, your budget, and how much you value having the latest technology, really. So we've been seeing really great lease deals in the last few years. Leasing offers lower monthly payments since you're covering depreciation, not the full vehicle cost. Every few years, you can upgrade to newer models with better range and new features, which is a real advantage given how fast EV technology is advancing. At the lease end, you simply return the car. There's no resale hassle. Most leases also let you buy the vehicle midterm if you change your mind and want to buy it. You'll want to be clear on the mileage limits. They're typically between 10,000 and 15,000 miles a year. I know some people who are like, oh, I want to take my EV on this road trip, but I can't because I only have 10,000 miles and I'm getting close to that. So you'll want to kind of take that into consideration. If you go over the mileage that you say that you're going to do, you'll have to pay for some overages. And you may have to pay for some charges if there's excess wear and tear. So those are like the only things to really think about at the end of your lease. Buying offers higher upfront costs and monthly payments. But once the loan is paid off, the car is yours. So you can drive unlimited miles. And if you keep it for many years, you'll probably see some long-term savings. The risk is evolving battery technology could impact the resale value. This is less of a concern if you plan to, get this car and, as people say, drive it into the ground. Like a lot of people do, a lot of environmentalists are, saying, I'm going to hang on to this car. Yeah. The bottom line is you could consider leasing if you want lower payments, the newest tech, and drive a moderate amount of miles. And you may want to buy if you drive a lot, keep vehicles for a long time, and want maximum value over the life of the car. So getting started. So this is the form, and I know I've dropped the link in the chat, but I'm just going to hop on over to the website. This is how it looks. So if you're ever interested in where this is, you go to the first menu item here, Save Money, and go to EV discounts, and then you end up on this page, exclusive EV discounts. This kind of shows a little bit of information. You can look into more details about the cars. And then this is where you sign up. So if you're ready to go, you want to get an EV this month, then click yes. I'm interested in working with Cartelligent to purchase or order a new EV. And then you fill out this form and don't forget to hit the submit button. I know a lot of times people are like, I filled out the form and we never got it. Cartelligent never got it. So yeah. So you put in some basic info. You can select from the drop-down menu here which one, or you might be interested in a different EV or a different plug-in hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. We're not currently offering any plug-in hybrids on this month. Now, if you have other information that you want to add, you can put it in this box, like, ooh, I have a trade-in, do you handle trade-ins? And the answer to that is yes. And I'll just give you like a neutral perspective. I have a friend who got an EV and she was trading in her Honda Pilot. This was a few years ago. She was comparing going through the dealership versus going through Cartelligent. And while the dealership told her she was going to get a lower monthly payment, the buyback amount or the trade-in amount for her Honda Pilot was half that of what Cartelligent gave them. So they decided to go through Cartelligent, and they were super happy. And Cartelligent always says, you're going to get the most amount of money if you sell your car on your own, but then you also have to deal with that. And so Cartelligent is somewhere in between what you might get at a dealership and doing it yourself. That's kind of what I've heard. So yes, back to the slideshow. So at this point, we're going to take some time for Q&A. I really haven't looked in the chat to see if there are any questions. I just see one right now. Cartelligent does not help with Teslas. Tesla is their own kind of ecosystem. So to buy a new Tesla, you need to go through either one of the showrooms or their website. And let's see. If you want to buy a used one, you can go through multiple dealerships or, other used car dealerships or even through Tesla. How long does it take to get approved? Payne, can you answer that one?
Yes. So getting approved doesn't take long at all. It's usually the same day that your application is submitted. Now, with Cartelligent's process, once we understand what you're looking for and we've done our search to come back with vehicle options and we have selected that option, that is when we will collect information to send to the dealer for them to process the transaction. So for us, it takes us about a day or two after we speak for the first time to come back with options. And then once you decide, we send it the same day and usually get an answer back the same day or next day for most people.
Thank you. I see Craig has a question. Is it possible to get a rough estimate from Cartelligent of what the trade-in value of a car might be?
So what I like to suggest for anyone that's looking for a rough estimate, go to kellybluebook.com because you can get an answer pretty instantly. Just make sure when you use a website like kellybluebook.com, you don't need to put in any of your information, contact information, name or phone number to get the value, the trade-in value of your vehicle. It will try to ask you for it. You just have to read carefully. And it's great for finding an instant value. With Cartelligent, what we will do is send you an email with a vehicle assessment link that gives you the opportunity to take pictures of your vehicle, put your VIN number in, and then it puts together a nice little report for us. Our trade-in department will then take that and submit it, and we will start to receive bids or offers for your vehicle. So within a couple of days, we will have a bunch of offers that we'll share with you. Those will be final numbers, actual offers. But for a rough estimate, I think an online Kelley Blue Book, that's what everyone does, and that is what I would recommend.
So Stella, I did not know about this program. It looks like Subaru has a program where one can rent a gas car from them for a long trip if one owns this Solterra. I've never heard of that, but I do know that sometimes people, have one gas car and one EV, and they use the gas car for longer trips. Or you could rent a car. Some people will rent a car. I didn't know they had this special program from Subaru, but that's great. This was really a big issue when the range of EVs was like under 200 miles. Like those early Nissan Leafs, people didn't really want to go on a road trip. But in 2017, I think the first EV that came out that was an affordable EV was the Chevy Bolt. It was like 256 miles of range. Once you're over the 250-mile mark, you're pretty much in a good position for going on a road trip. I have two EVs. I drive them to LA from the Bay Area, and I stop twice for about 20 minutes to charge my EVs. And When I arrive in LA, I might stop one time just right when I get there, so I have a full tank, so to speak. Um, okay, Esther brings in, okay, so you spoke with Cartelligent, but you would rather go with a dealer. Yeah, I'm just going to say people who buy their cars from Cartelligent don't ever go back to a dealer. It's such an excellent buying experience. One of the differences, and I don't want to speak about all dealerships, but many of us have had experiences in dealerships, and there can be some kind of wheeling and dealing. There can be some smoke and mirrors. The reason why we partner with Cartelligent is that everything is very transparent, upfront, and clear. So you know what you're getting, you know what you're paying for. Whereas at the dealership, oftentimes, and again, I don't want to speak for all dealerships because some of them are really fine and, you know, and do a very good business, but lots of kind of schemes and tricks that happen at the end, and they want you to sign up for this special program for $2,000 or this and that. And so we just keep hearing excellent stories from our thousands of customers who've been buying through Cartelligent. Not only great pricing, exclusive discounts like we're offering now, but the whole car buying experience is so much better. You don't have to be in a dealership for 3 hours, going back and forth. They take care of all of that work for you. They do the negotiating for you, and all you have to do is kind of sign the paperwork and come and pick it up. And it's funny, what was I going to say? Something about, oh yeah, many of us, myself included, think that we're really great negotiators. And I've talked to so many friends who are like, yeah, we actually went through the dealership. They're like, we got such a good deal. And they tell me what they're getting. And I'm like, you would have gotten $100 less a month if you had gone through Cartelligent. We're going to talk, a little bit more of the initial cost of EVs and incentives and charging and all those things. So, although early EV drivers paid a high premium for electric cars, today's EV drivers often save money. And here are some reasons why. It costs much less to fuel an electric car. So fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than fueling an EV, depending upon where and when you charge it. There are special time of use rates. There are EV time of use rates that you can sign up for with PG&E. When you get when you have your VIN number, you do need to give them your VIN number. So it ends up being like half of the cost if you charge your EV between midnight and 3 p.m. versus 4 to 9 p.m. when people are trying to avoid charging because of the high demand for electricity, which then is much more costly. So maintenance costs are 40% lower for EVs. As I mentioned, it's basically adding windshield wiper fluid and rotating your tires, which is something I do every 6,000 miles. That was advised to me. And then there are the incentives available, which can bring down the cost of purchasing or leasing an EV. And I'm just going to go over those right now. Apologies, this list used to be a lot longer, but I'm hopeful that we're going to get this state rebate pretty soon. That should be exciting. So right now we have our Ride and Drive Clean exclusive EV discounts that we've just been discussing. We have some income eligible state grants. One is called Clean Cars for All. It's a retire and replace program. You have to retire a 2007 or older functioning gas car, and you can get up to $12,000 to purchase a new or used EV. Actually, the $12,000, that amount depends upon where you live. In some areas, it's $10,000. In other areas, it's $12,000, depending upon if it's a disadvantaged community. There's the Drive Clean Assistance Program for $7,500. That's if you don't have a car to trade in, a gas car to trade in. You can get a $7,500 grant, but you do have to apply for these grants before purchasing an EV. So you need to have that grant in hand before talking to the dealership or talking to Cartelligent. It's definitely worthwhile to talk to Cartelligent. if you have one of those, because you may be able to stack these winter EV discounts with your Clean Cars for All grant. I noticed somebody asked that question in the chat. There are also some local incentives. So PG&E has a pre-owned EV rebate for $1,000 for basically anyone who gets their bill from PG&E. And $4,000 is the rebate plus, and that's based on income. And then you'll want to check with your local CCA or municipal utility to find out if there's any additional rebates available or incentives available. I love this savings calculator because you can put in your zip code, your household income, how many people are in your household, and find out exactly what you qualify for. So I'm not really going to go over these in detail because not everybody, qualifies for these, but I'll keep these in the slide deck so that you can review them when I send you the PDF of the presentation. So this is that Clean Cars for All, which is a retire and replace program. And this is Drive Clean Assistance Program. So these are both available now, depending, well, sometimes the funding dries up on some of these, but it's good to know about them at least, and they're typically refunded. Funding will be reallocated. Here's a little more information about the PG&E pre-owned EV rebate. So if your income qualified right now, it's actually more affordable to get or you get more discounts if you buy a used EV, up to $16,000 off. So because of that PG&E pre-owned EV rebate for $4,000. Okay, so next steps, sign up on the Ride and Drive Clean EV discounts page. I'm going to throw that link in the chat one more time. And a Cartelligent advisor will reach out to you so you can talk with them, test drive the EV you're considering. And for more information, attend another webinar. You can go to Ride and Drive Clean and go to our events page. That's possibly how you signed up for this webinar. Again, I'd like to thank you for joining us. These exclusive EV discounts are going through February. We will have Ride and Drive Clean EV shows in the spring and summer of 2026, and more webinars ongoing. We'll be adding some more webinars. We're always adding new webinars. And because you signed up for this webinar, you are now signed up to receive our newsletters. You can always unsubscribe if you don't want them, but this is where you're going to be hearing about the state rebates and more of our EV, exclusive EV discount programs. So this is the time to take action. If you can make the switch to driving electric now, we are here to help. The sooner, the better. If you're not ready now, can we have your support by pledging to make your next car electric? Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car. It will be on this earth spewing emissions for 12 to 15 years, and we have to stop doing that as soon as possible.